Peace to the gods. Abdul Bay TV, in association with Pretty Boss TV. I am that I am. We back for some more. Motherfuckers hysterical with a touch of this twister. You know about that New York?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That dog pound.
Corrupt boy. He went in on that. They label my vocabulary abusive. I pack more knowledge than Confucius. I'm deadly, inducing like Medusa. Hey man. Y'all know the theme, I guess with the hip hop, Moorish science and consciousness. We were talking about, off camera, the cherry tree. My sage going crazy over here, If you don't burn sage, I think you should, bruh. Got the sage, baby. Let me get some. Smells good. We were building on the cherry tree.
Yeah.
They said that George Washington chopped down the cherry tree. And then, see, what they saying with that is he took down the Moroccan flag, which was the red flag with a green 5-pointed star in the center, right? That's the cherry tree, right? The red with the green.
Yes, sir.
And then he erected the banner as a national flag. But we know that the banner, the red, white, and blue banner, essentially is the flag of amity, right, and commerce. From the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, when we gave them passage up and down the Atlantic Ocean, right, from the Berbers and the Moors, the pirates, that kept seizing their ships and holding them hostage and taking them into slavery and taking their ships and reworking them and coming out with lowrider ships and shit. You know what I mean? We was getting it in back then. So in the 100 Amazing Facts of the So-Called Negro, the J.A. Rogers book, you were touching on part of what I was just speaking on as far as the Berbers and what they did to these foreign Europeans in those days, which is why we can't be too mad at what they did to us. It's karma, it's divine karma. We was enslaving them and just doing them all types of ways. They was paying us tributes. We had them paying us taxes. As a matter of fact, the letter that George Washington wrote to the Sultan, he spoke on that. Apologizing for the Sultan not receiving his regular tributes. If y'all haven't yet, check out the letter to the Sultan Abdullah ibn Muhammad from George Washington. You can get it. You can go to RB Bay Publication, Google it. You'll be able to get your hands on that letter. It's a pretty famous letter, although it's on the underground. They don't want you to know about that letter, brother. The prophet in the oral statement and prophecies. Did he mention something about you had the page over there?
Yeah, I got it.
Well, hit me with that.
In the oral statements of prophecy of Noble Drew Ali, he made the statement: the Moors were once a seafaring people who fed the world. The time was going to come when we would go back and feed the world again.
The seafaring people
who
fed the world. So we went around the world. We navigated the world, feeding people. Now, when you say feeding people, I want y'all to keep in mind, he ain't talking about just
literally feeding,
literally just food. He's talking about knowledge,
raising them up.
Yeah, we going around raising people up, bringing them up to 90. It requires 90 degrees for you to be upright. Correct? If you go back to geometry, you need 90 degrees to be upright. So these Masons, they ain't even raised up because they had 33 degrees. Right. They pretty much still crawling, ain't it?
Yeah.
With they tasseled all pinned. Go ahead. Now connect that with J.A. Rogers for me.
We're gonna do. There's in J.A. Rogers' book, he has a fact about the Moors. The English word admiral, which we know is a sea captain or a seafarer, captain of a ship, and the French equivalent admiral was adopted as a result of the great admiration for the Negro sea rovers, which is a connecting with seafaring people with the seafaring people who used to scour the coast of Europe for slaves as late as the 19th century.
Yes.
It comes from Admiral Al-Bar, Lord of the Seas, the commander of the sea rovers. The principal port of the latter was Salé, Morocco. The United States squadron under Commander Decatur went to Africa to free white Americans held there as slaves.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Like it's like the Marines.
Yeah.
The Marines.
Yeah, the Marines.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Yeah. Any one of you ex-Marines out there, y'all know that song. Yeah. That's their victory song over the Moors. Yeah. Because the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Let's break that down for a second real quick then, right? Since I done spit it.
Yeah.
What is the Hall of Montezuma? That's the Gulf of Mexico, which is symbolic to the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. North Central South America.
Yeah.
To the halls of from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, right?
Which is in North Africa.
Which is in Northwest Africa, right? Yeah. Now, to get to Tripoli from this side of the hemisphere, you have to cross over the Atlantic Ocean, which we ruled.
Yeah.
Right? We ruled the Atlantic Ocean. The first country that you come into is Morocco. Then after Morocco is Algiers. After Algiers is Tunis. Mm-hmm. And then Tripoli. So essentially, you're going past. You have to. You got to cross the entire Berber state. That's what they call it, the Berbers. That's what they call them, the Berbers. Yeah. Those were the pirates, who was holding them hostage and snatching up their women, putting them in harems and holding them as
slaves,
sex slaves. And it's almost like we took the pretty ones and had them as sex slaves, and the ugly crackers, the ugly pilgrims, the ugly foreign Europeans, the ugly monkeys. We had them as servants, cleaning shoes and wiping shit down. You know what I mean? I mean, it ain't funny, man. Yeah. We shouldn't be laughing at that. Don't laugh, brother, baby. That's not cool. That's why we end up as slaves.
What it is, we ruled this planet for a longer period of time than they did.
Indeed. Much longer time.
Being we was in rule, we had a greater chance to do more dirt. So we have to deal with that karmic.
We had to deal with that karmic debt. We got to pay that karmic debt.
Yeah. For what we did over that long period of time that we ruled.
Exactly. Yeah. The change, there ain't no future right for me. I'm stuck in the game.
Like in the Kabbalah says, every action brings about an equal and opposite effect. Every action brings about an equal. It don't make any sense to go what we going through and we haven't did nothing. We have to do something.
That's the principle of cause and effect.
Yeah, that's cause and effect.
Because it's 7 hermetic principles.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go over those real quick. Let's hit them with it. What is it? Mentalism? I'll let you do the honors, brother.
Okay.
Well, let me reference it again. That's the Kabbalion, 7 hermetic principles. I think I'll come off the top with it, though. Mentalism, the law of correspondence, which is as above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
Vibration.
Go ahead.
Cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Rhythm.
Yeah.
Rhythm. That's 5. Polarity. And what was the last one? Gender. Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now the cause and effect. That's how you know we have been repaying the karmic debt for what we did in the past.
For anything that you do on a personal level, don't you know that when you do something that comes back to you, we know that. So it has to be a reason that we're going through this period as a people,
exactly,
of oppression over these years.
Exactly. We're paying that debt
for what we did.
That's why history is so important to understand, and that's part of what they suppressed during the Reconstruction period of 1865. See, it wasn't a period of Reconstruction in terms of the infrastructure of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
They had to do everything with the reconstruction of the history and the real truth about what happened during this time period, because only then can they rule you. I mean, you have to be blind to the fact.
Well, they say a pen is mightier than the sword.
Pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we were talking about go back to the cherry tree.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me, you educated me earlier about the whole mulberry tree. Yeah. I'm out for presidents to represent me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out for presidents to represent me. So let's examine that, because that's going to bring us to a point where we will be able to also examine the term more.
Yeah.
From a deeper level, a deeper perspective.
Because it's easier to make the connection with mulberry tree than cherry tree.
If you study
etymology.
Yes.
So mulberry.
Wait. You know how we got to do over here at Abdul Bay TV, because you know there ain't no excuses. We don't want to hear it from y'all just thinking we just, you know what I'm saying, we well studied. Again, this is the dictionary we're working with. All right, now hand me that etymology book, because you finna hit them with all this. Well studied. Or caught by the devil's lasso. Shit is a hassle. All right. To Jesus, soaking their sins in trays.
I'll say mulberry.
Mulberry.
Any of several deciduous trees from the genus Moorish.
Morris. Spell that for me.
M-O-R-U-S.
Okay. Oh, like the last name Morris.
Like Morris.
Yes. So any Morrises out there, you Morris. Good.
It goes a little later in Latin, morum. But we can go a little bit deeper with the etymological dictionary.
Of course, you could always go deeper with the etymology.
So we go a little bit deeper where mulberry, from the Middle English, mulberry or murberry.
Yes.
See how the L and the R interchange?
Yes.
This is mulberry, murberry. And this is out of Middle English.
Yes.
It goes on further. In Latin, like I said, morum.
First time I took my fez off on camera. Y'all see the ball head? Got like in the ball deep. Yes.
It goes on. Latin, medieval Latin, morata. Old French, Maury. English, Murray.
Yes.
Like you hear the name Murray.
Murray, yes.
Mulberry colors. So it gets you more of a connection to the word.
To the more, yes. Yes, when you go with the mulberry tree.
But when they tell you that story of the cherry tree, you hear it in grade school, but you can't make the connection.
Right.
But if they told you mulberry tree, we chopped down the mulberry tree,
right,
which they changed up and switched the game.
Yes.
It's gonna open up some doors.
It's gonna open up some doors.
It's gonna open up your mind to the real deal.
It'll resonate better, and you'll say, "Oh man."
And the funny thing is man, you know, words. There's so many words out there with the root word more in it.
Yeah.
Spanish, amor. A-M-O-R.
Yeah.
Means love.
Yeah.
Imagine that. What's the first principle?
Love.
Truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right?
Yeah.
Amor is the first. You got more in there. You got moreno. You got la moria. Mu, which is short M-U. Yeah. You got M-U-U-R is another way to say more.
Yeah.
You got the Mauryan dynasty.
Yeah.
Which is down in India.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The ancient Indians from India.
Yeah.
You got the Almoravids, which is a kingdom or not, some rulers, I guess, and a couple Moors down there in Marrakesh, around there in West Africa. You know what I'm saying? You'll find the term Moor all over the place. Last names: Morris, Moore, Maurice, Morton. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Morton Salt, right?
They got all kind of, they got coat of arms, like you read.
Coat of arms.
Like you read, like Nature Knows Her Color Lines. They got coat of arms, European coat of arms, where they have these Moors faces on them.
Right.
Which connect
like the French sing Moor.
Yeah.
That's one face on one of those coat of arms.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, as you speak on it, the Pope. If y'all Google the Pope, he's sitting on his throne, so-called throne, which at the back of his throne it says "Assalamu alaikum," peace be unto you.
Yeah.
Right, and above him is a big old, a huge you just said the coat of arms.
Yeah.
And they had the French Moor on there.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been wondering, like, what is that nigger doing on there? And the Negro and all this stuff, you know what I mean? There was a story about some rich guy in Europe that in his family crest, they had a Moor, and they said that Moor is there because the Moor had saved him from being ate by a bear, so that was a way of him honoring him, really. You're going to take your slave that saved you from getting ate from a bear and put him on your family crest? No. Yeah. That was your dad. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Because we are the fathers. You are the Muslim son. You know what I'm saying? And we are the Muslims, the fathers of civilization. You know what I mean? That's deep, brother.
Yeah.
That's deep. Where else can you take me with the term Moor?
Well, you take the like actually, they didn't have any vowels in ancient languages.
True.
So you could take the O out of more, and what do you get? MR.
MR, which is what? Mister. Master.
Or master.
You are the slave and the master.
Yeah.
What you looking for? Yeah. You the question and the answer. See, that's why, man, that boy now is something else. Yeah. What you about to do? I see you pulling out the etymology book. What you?
I'm gonna see if it's in here.
Yeah, check that. Yeah, check the etymology on more Mister and all that to see. You see, it's like we're beautiful people, y'all. All you black people out there, you need to recognize you more than just black. You're not. Come on, man. We deal with nationality. We deal with real history. We deal with law. We deal with the divine aspect as well. See, the old Moors, they want to keep us locked in on the religious divine aspect. All they want to talk about is religion. But this is wanna be hardcore with your hat to the back, talking about your guts and your raps. Woo! This is a theocratic government. A theocratic government is a government that derives his laws from their God. All right? That's what the Circle 7 is all about. So for all you dirty Moors, sold out Moors, with your temples, just wanting to talk about higher self, lower self, all you want to talk about, not to say that's
essential.
That's essential because it's two pillars in the Moorish divine and national movement. It's two pillars. National, bless you, brother. National and divine, right? Religious aspect of the divine creed and the national principles. Excuse me, civics, etc. So within the Circle 7, within the Circle 7 Quran itself, it gives you law. It's a law book, essentially, actually. And then the great brother C.M. Bay later on came through with the Clock of Destinies 1 and 2 and the Zodiac Constitution. Where we get our AA 2221 for 1 from, you know what I mean? Codified in the United States Codes of Law. How's it codified? Chapter 2, Section 22, Title 141, I believe. It's on my nationality card. From R.V. Bay. Shout outs to R.V. Bay. Yes, exactly. Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 141. Of a general and permanent character. You feel me? Not taxed. Anyhow, you found it yet?
No. I'm just looking now.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Mr.
What you got?
I got Mr. C Master.
C Master?
Yeah. No, C Master. Like
C Master. Okay. Right. It's telling you to go see the word master. Okay, let's go to. Hey, I can still see that C Master though.
Yeah, but look at this. But what is the abbreviated form of Mr.?
MR.
MR.
Yes, exactly.
So it's telling you right there what
exactly.
it is.
MR.
Mr.
More.
Master. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we all in the language. Our identity is all in the language, and not just the English language either.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, exactly. All in the all in Spanish. All languages.
That's why it's so essential to, like I say, study etymology, where words derive. Because we bound ourselves by words. Certain words like black and Negro, and these words, when you use them, you also bind yourself spiritually. You know what I'm saying?
You do indeed. You do indeed.
So it's
you
power
bind
in the words.
It's a spell.
Yeah.
But what Malachi York,
he call it the spell of Leviathan.
Leviathan.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
I agree. Definitely.
I agree with that.
And it ain't. But it all stems from the indoctrination of the Christian creed. You know what I mean? Like the prophet say, you straight away to the gods of Europe, who you knew nothing of. In doing so, you ended up spellbound. You know. And let me tell you how. I'll give you a quick story, right? My son, his teacher called, and she's like, "Hey Jay, he's terrorizing the kids in school." I was like, "What do you mean?" Well, he's telling the kids, apparently he's telling these kids that Santa Claus ain't real and the elves ain't real. And I told the teacher, I said, "Well, look, I don't deal with mysticism, man. I'm not going to tell my son, no, I'm Santa Claus. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell my son, I'm going to lie to my son about some mystic cracker.
Satan's claws.
I said I wasn't gonna say crocker no more. Yeah. Satan's claws, right?
Satan's
exactly.
Claws, yeah.
Satan's claws. You know what I'm saying? So he's just terrorizing these kids. But the point in the story is that. And I told my son, don't do that no more. But I don't care.
Y'all terrorizing the kids
by telling them y'all terrorizing them by telling them these silly lies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you're a child, they get you to think that a bunny can lay eggs. Mm-hmm. Really? Yeah. Easter, right? Yeah. The Easter bunny? Mm-hmm. My point is this. Those are allegorical stories for children, right? Mm-hmm. Right. It's supposed to be fun, for them to do right. So, you want to get the candy, you want to get gifts, you got to do right. Don't be a naughty kid in Santa Claus, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then as you grow, remember on the other video we were talking about belief, faith, and fruition?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because of that spell they put on you with believing these mystic ideas, mm-hmm. these fantasy ideas, you never let go of it when you reach adulthood. Mm-hmm. Most don't. Yeah. Most people don't. Some of us come into the light and break that chain, mm-hmm. but most don't, right? So what happens is, so you become now, a young adult, adolescent, 10, 12, and you realize now you finally come to the truth that, it ain't no tooth fairy, ain't no Santa Claus, etc., right? Mm-hmm. However, you have been conditioned to take bullshit as true. Yeah. So now it's easy to keep you going with that, except now we got to switch gears. We go from the kiddie shit to something a little bit more advanced, and now it's religion. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So now in religion, hold on a second. Now in religion, you start believing and you start accepting the reality, so-called reality, or the paradigm of a Adam and Eve as the actual truth, as the actual fact, in terms of you're not going to come to the Gnostic aspect or the fruition. It's belief, faith, fruition. You won't graduate to fruition, which fruition tells you that Adam is the atom and Eve is the evolution. Or if you go into the aspect of the serpent with the tree, right? They're not telling you that the tree is the Kabbalah, right? And the serpent is the Kundalini energy, right? The same serpent that you'll find on the medical symbols, like on the ambulances.
Caduceus.
That's what they call it.
Caduceus. I don't know how it's particularly sounded, but it's Catechus, Caduceus, or something.
I follow you.
Yeah, with the serpents intertwined.
Going up the staff.
Yeah, that's symbolic.
And at the top you got the wings.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be associated with medicine.
Because it is medicine. Yeah. It is your inner ascension.
Yeah.
That's the remember the Kundalini energy lays dormant at the base of your spine. Mm-hmm. And as you energize that energy, it rises up your spine, pierces each chakra to energize each chakra, your 7 energy centers, reaches the crown, right? Which is why the pharaohs had the cobra on their crown. Mm-hmm. But that's that serpent, the same serpent that turned in that whereas the staff turned into a serpent on Moses. You see, these are all metaphysical concepts. But when you've been conditioned and indoctrinated to believe in Santa Claus and all this shit, now when you reach adulthood, you never really let go of it. Mm-hmm. The story just changes. Yeah. It goes from Santa Claus now to Adam and Eve and being in the fields butt naked with leaves and shit around, and the serpent is supposed to be Satan and all this. You know what I mean? The Noah's Ark and all these allegorical stories that carry meaning to it, but it's not what you think it is. You coming at it from the degree of belief and faith, never graduating to fruition, which is what adults are supposed to do. Yeah. You're supposed to come into knowing what these concepts really mean. Yeah. Because it's to give the children a reference point. Yeah. And now when you become an adult, that reference point now becomes the real deal, not remaining the reference point forever. Think about me telling you, how you tell the kids the birds and the bees when you're talking about sexual functions. Yeah. Imagine an adult at 30 years old still talking birds and the bees, never realizing that it's actually about sexual intercourse. Yeah. Think about that. Yeah. So that's how we look to the world when we keep going with this Jesus and all this stuff without recognizing the real truth behind what it really is saying. Like the Christ, right? He turned water to wine. Turning water to wine, that's another point. That's alchemy. Inner alchemy. From the lower self to the higher self. Water to wine. Stone to gold. You know, the philosopher's stone and such. You know, with alchemy, you're supposed to be able to turn stone to gold. But the concept is an internal transmutation. Rising up. What they call it, the seven heaven. Which is the seven chakras. To reach the crown chakra. You know? But that's what religion really is. What the masses get is dogma. And it's indoctrinated into us as a people through Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the elves, the Easter Bunny, Cupid. The fuck I care about some butt naked ass little pale child with Pampers on, some diapers on, running around with a damn bow and arrow, shooting people in the ass, making them fall in love.
To a red devil with some pitchfork.
Miss me with that.
In some pajamas.
Come on.
With a pitchfork.
With a pitchfork and a horn and shit. You know, this is what they do. So now when you grow up, you become an adult. Now you believe in 26 minutes. We're about to shut it down in a minute. Now you grow up as an adult. Now you believing in this little red. If I say to anybody, if I say the devil, what image come in your head? It's always a red little dude with a pitchfork and shit, looking all menacing. And then if I say God, you see some white man floating up in the sky
with a
beard, a long beard, right? You know, like if you look at the Sistine Chapel, you see God's supposed to be this troglodyte nigger monkey, right? Floating with a pink robe on, and a bunch of little kids floating around him, little babies or whatever. It must be angels, I don't know, but they butt ass naked. And then you got Adam, I believe it's Adam, laying on a rock, butt naked, pointing back at God, and God pointing back at him. You know what I'm talking about? Look at them. It's on the Sistine Chapel. I mean, he laying on the rock, butt naked, man, with his little wee out, and it's quite little. But he's white, so it makes sense. Or a foreign European, he ain't white. We the white man. These are the principles that we're talking about, man. That's the Leviathan spell, man. They start you off as a child. So my son, we don't do that. Ain't no Santa Claus, baby. Ain't no. We don't do elves. We don't do. You know what I'm saying? We don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? So. That's the point, man. We gotta graduate into the level of Gnosticism. We gotta come to fruition. We gotta come to know what these stories are really telling us. Why they call us minorities?
You're a child.
Go on in the room, AJ. I done told you already now. I'm recording a video. You see, and I'm not even gonna edit this. Real live TV. I done told you. Abdul Bay TV, baby. What I said? What happened? Go ahead.
You're dealing with Gnosticism.
Gnosticism. What I had said, son. What I had said before my son. Minority. Why they call us minorities?
Minorities.
Yeah, let's examine that real quick. We got about 2 minutes left. Real quick. I'm just making it 30 minutes, huh?
Minus us. I guess.
What do you say?
They call us minority because we're supposed to be a small group.
Okay, that's what the most people think. That we're supposed to be. It has to do with numbers, right? 10 of us, 20 of them. Far from the truth. That's not what they call us minorities. They call us minorities because we are of minor minds. We are minors, adults, grown ass men who have no idea about law, principles, your identity, who you are. You know what I mean? You still thinking Adam and Eve are two white people sitting up in the Garden of Eden. That's minor thinking, man. You haven't graduated out of belief and faith. You're still stuck in belief and faith. You haven't come to fruition. A grown man comes to know what's what. A grown man knows that the birds and the bees is sexual intercourse. If you're a grown man still believing in the birds and the bees, as the birds and the bees, you're a minor. You're a minority. Majority are those who have graduated past that level. You become part of the majority. Now you are a competent man. Now you can handle your legal affairs. Minorities, they get what do you call them? barristers, people who are members of the bar association, you know, the attorneys.
It actually says that in the Black's Law Dictionary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The lawmen, the laymen, you know, they're out there. They're attorneys at law, which means they are at law, which means they're outside of law. They're not in law.
Now I was talking about the minority aspect.
I know. Oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, right.
That's in
the Black's Law. That's actually in there. And majority, it's a caste system.
Yeah.
Anybody, it's not color. Just like black and white is based in the caste system or social status.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with identity.
Yeah.
You know, it has nothing. It has to do with social status. Like they got this brother that came from Egypt that was, you know, he came to America, you know, came to the United States, and on his passport he's got white on it, but he wanted to be black. Look it up. I can't remember his name. He got a video on YouTube where he read a long ass letter about the issue. He wanted to be black, but he wasn't being considered black because he had a nationality. He was Egyptian. You see? Yeah. So obviously it has nothing to do with your color. Yeah. It has to do with your social status. Yeah. If you are a stateless person, you are black because black is civil little mortus. Let's look up black. Okay. Let's look up civil little mortus. Not black, civil little mortus. Man, it done past 31 minutes. Man, when we go, we going. Yeah. I'm about to stop real quick in a second. Look, church. Yeah. We got church in there, which, you know, according to the brother Tasha Reed, not just according to him, but he brought me to the light that it's a circle. But I'm not going to look at that. I'm looking at civil little mortus. Where is it at? Civil obligation. Civil rights. It's that Scarface. Citizen. The status of being a citizen. Whereas civil law, civil little mortuus. There it is. Civilly dead. Which mortuus, right? Yeah. Mortuus, right? Dead in the view of the law. Yeah. What the prophet said, black means. Yeah. Black in science means dead. Yeah. So let me read this again. In other words, what he said is, if you call yourself black, you call yourself civil little mortuus, because it means civilly dead. Dead in the view of the law, the condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in law. That's what a minority is, what black people are. Civil little mortuus. You see what I'm saying? Now, in order for you to become in full life, real quick, let's read in full life. In full life. Well, real quick. Inalienable, right? Not subject to alienation, the characteristic of those things which cannot be bought or sold or transferred from one person to another, such as rivers and public highways and certain personal rights. Right? So my right and freedom to travel is inalienable. My estate is inalienable, etc. We have inalienable rights. I went off subject, but I saw that and I just had to read it real quick. What was I saying? In full life. B, C, D, E, F. D, C, D, E, F. The video is going and going. Enjoy. Alright, there we go. Here we go. Infamous. The mob, right? M-O-B. Mob Deep. In full life. Somewhere close here. In full life. Here we go. Finally found it. 34 minutes. We're going to cut it at 35. Continuing in both physical and civil existence. Is that not the opposite of civil little mortuus? Continuing in both physical and civil existence. That is neither actually dead nor civil little mortuus. So we all have a choice. Either you're civil little mortuus or you are in full life. I am Abdul El Saib, Moorish American in full life. In propria persona sui juris. You see what I'm saying? That is how you want to present yourself in these courtrooms, amongst other places. With that said, brothers and sisters, that was another video with another powerful book, the 5th edition, Black's Law Dictionary. We got some powerful Moors in the building. My man Tariq Brown Bay, Islam brother, appreciate your help. My man Trapper Bay, appreciate you, my brother, appreciate your help. This was a good bill.
Oh yes.
I think this was the sage. We had the incense.
Oh yeah.
Felt spiritual up in here. Bob Marley in the background watching over me, keeping these demons away. Yeah. The ancestors, baby. You got to evoke them. You know what I mean? So with that said, brothers and sisters, inshallah.